this video I want to show you some bits and pieces. It's easy to see it in the ROM, but it's a lot better to see what's going on in the actual carburetor. So here you can see what the ROM calls an air valve, and this one's already been disassembled. But what I want to show you what's going on inside the air valve. Well, basically you have this that is sitting inside this tube of the air valve, and people say when I'm losing, they say in the air valve, if you're losing, there's oil sits in there, and some people say, well, I'm losing oil. And what's actually happening is inside the air valve there's this thing here, and there's an O-ring on it. So this thing is down in this tube, and it's held in so it doesn't fall out by this star washer that's right down inside that tube. Now there's a little screw here, like a grub screw, that screws into this valve, this little needle, and you can see it goes into that point. And so as you adjust your carburetor with one of these tools here, you are basically enriching the fuel or reducing the fuel ratio by basically turning this thing at the top, by putting that Allen key inside here, and you rotate it either clockwise or anti-clockwise. So anti-clockwise I think makes the mixture stronger. Clockwise makes it weaker. Anyway, I forget, but one or the other. Now when people lose oil, as I said, it's this O-ring, and you will have to take this out, and let's show you how ways to do it. So basically the way I would do it is I would undo this grub screw completely, so it's clear from the tube, and then go ahead and use your Allen key. That special Allen, it's just a regular Allen key, but it's just super long. I won't say it's super long. It actually does two things. It stops this rotating because there's a little key there. But what I found is if you hold this when you're adjusting it, if you got the cap off, you can adjust it by holding this and using a long Allen key, or you have this special tool that has that little bit. You can see a little thing there that stops the air valve from rotating. So anyway, so what you can do is go ahead and undo this thing completely, and I'm undoing it anti-clockwise, and eventually it will, oops, I can't do it one-handed. There you go, it comes out. You pull this out from this side here, pull it out. And another thing is, a couple of things is, some people say they use different metering needles numbers. If you pull this, it's on a spring. I can't do it again, sorry, one-handed. Oh, I can just spell it. There is a number stamped on this needle, and I forget what it is, but you can Google it or look it up in the ROM. There's a number stamped on there. It tells you what sort of needle that is. This needle is in pretty good shape. It's not worn out or anything like that, so can be reused. Now, so now the thing is, this bit is stuck inside the tube because of this star washer that's pushed all the way down here. And so what you can do is get a drift, push it in, and what's going to happen is that star washer is going to score the bore of this tube. So what I've seen some people do is get a long dental tool and actually try and turn, as they're pulling this out, turn this star washer one way and bring it out and just score one part of the wall. What I found is that I personally found that it's not that critical, to be honest, because there's so much play in this thing. As long as this moves up and down inside that tube, you should be okay. But there are people who use sandpaper or emery cloth or wet and dry to make sure this is smooth. So I had a situation where I found one carburetor that didn't actually have this thing, and so when you go to adjust the fuel mixture, this thing goes in and out in that tube, as you screw this clockwise or anti-clockwise. And what I found is it typically from end to end it's about 3.5 turns that it could potentially fall off. So some people say that, hey, I keep turning and turning and nothing's happening. It could be possible that this thing has come off, detached from the needle. Alternatively, another thing what I found out is this star washer has risen up the tube. And so no matter how much adjustment you do, this is just moving inside the tube. So I think periodically, once in a while, when you adjust your carburetors, you may want to push some dowel or something down the tube to make sure that this star washer is actually sitting as much as possible down the bottom. So yeah, as I said, if you're losing oil, you can change this O-ring, very easily available. The needles can be adjusted and you can tweak that. So just thought I'll talk about how to adjust your carburetors. As I said, it's in the book, but when you have something in hand, you can see actually what's going on.